Nothing in this podcast or on our website should be construed as medical advice. Consult your healthcare provider for your individual nutritional and medical needs. The information presented is based on our research and is strictly that of the author and not necessarily those of any professional group or other individual.
Hi, I'm Sue Becker from Bread Beckers. Welcome to Sue's Healthy Minutes. I'm so excited you've joined me today, and I hope this episode encourages you and allows you to find the answers you have been praying for the health of you and your family. I know I have mentioned before what a blessing it is for me to hear stories of improved health from those who have begun to mill their own flour and have added real bread to their daily diets. It brings great joy and encouragement to me. A few weeks ago, a customer visited Bread Beckers to pick up some wheat and other supplies. He had only just begun his journey of milling his own flour to make his bread a month prior. But he had an amazing It's the Bread story to tell, and so began to share it with one of our employees. Our employee got so excited that she called to tell me some of the story, knowing that I would want to speak to him personally. And of course, I did. And his story is definitely one I want to share with you all today, as I know you will be encouraged by it when you hear it. So I want to welcome today to Sue's Healthy Minutes, my very special guest, Mr. Daryl Bice. Mr. Bice, welcome to Sue's Healthy Minutes. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to share with us today, as I know our listeners are going to be so encouraged to hear your story. So before we jump into the bread part of your story, will you tell us just a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what you do?
I was born and raised in Alabama in the Anniston area. And about 20 years ago, I took a job with a major construction company and was required to travel all over the U.S. And then I retired in 2016 and came home and playing on the hobby farm.
Even though you're retired, you're still doing some construction work, correct?
Well, I'm about ready to go back to work so I can get some rest. Yes.
I know how that is. So, well, maybe this. I don't know what the weather's like there in Alabama, but it's a rainy day here in Georgia. So you have the day off today. It might be a good day to take a little break.
Actually, no, we're going to get a little late start today, but yeah, it's rainy and messy over here too. But we got some work we got to get done.
Yeah, I know how that is. Well, you had some pretty significant health issues going on for quite a while, for quite a number of years. Tell us about that and how that affected your work, your life in general.
Well, I've had, I'd say, a sensitive stomach for probably 20 years. And was, just able to manage it by what I eat, when I eat, and so forth. And then several years ago, it got worse, and I was still traveling, doing the superintendent work. And it got worse, and so when I went on to a new job site, my main concern was not learning the job. I knew the job. I just needed to know where the restrooms was at so I could make it one to the next.
Yes. Oh, goodness.
It was life altering, having that kind of digestive system. I had to plan what I eat, when I eat, where I went, and, how long I was going to be gone. And it was just, it was definitely having a negative impact on my life and my work. So.
Yeah, I can imagine. And then you sought medical help, though, right?
Yes, between a year and a half, 2 years ago, probably closer to a year and a half, my digestive issues got way worse. So I went to a GI specialist in Birmingham, and they did all their tests, blood work, every test that you can do for digestive issues. They did those tests, plus the upper, lower GI, and they say they really can't find anything, but they still give me a bunch of prescription medications to take. And over a period of time, I don't think, like I said, this was almost going on 2 years ago. I don't think the medicines helped any. And they kind of seemed, kind of acted like I was making these problems up because the test didn't show anything specific.
Right.
And so anyway, it did get somewhat better over time. And then last year, around October, maybe September, it got real bad again. So I went to another GI specialist here in local in the Anniston area. And they did identically the same thing, run all the same tests, upper and lower GIs, and gave me a bunch of prescription medicines. And they didn't help. I mean, they just really didn't. So, and I was talking to a friend of mine that's, and I had been wanting to make bread. I just can't eat the store-bought bread. My regular routine, I'd go to the grocery store, I'd buy a pack of loaf of bread, hamburger buns, and hot dog buns.
Yeah.
And I eat one or two out of each of the pack, and my stomach was just, it did not do it. And I would throw it all away.
Oh, wow.
A few weeks later, I would do the same thing, go back and buy more bread, buns, and I'll eat a little bit of it. Really bothered my stomach. So I did this like 4 or 5 times. I'm just throwing all this bread away. And I've been wanting to learn to bake some bread. I didn't know the health benefits at the time.
Yeah.
I just bake some bread because I can't eat this store-bought stuff.
Yeah, I think you told me that you wanted to make bread like your mama made it.
Yeah, my mother was a fantastic baker, cook. She did cakes and breads and any kind of pastry, and she was really good at it. But yes, and I thought I'd like to make some bread. Just spend some time in the kitchen making bread, and it's kind of brings back fond memories of my mother. But,
right. So your quest to learn how to make bread was really just to learn how to make bread. You didn't even think about the nutritional benefits that it could bring you, right?
I had no idea. None.
Right. So, all right. So how did you stumble onto Breadbeckers and learning about the nutritional benefits?
Well, I was talking to a friend of mine that's over in Atlanta, and during our conversation, I talked about would like to learn to make bread. And she said, well, I don't know anything about it, but I have a friend that makes bread. She said, let me ask her. I have no idea who this friend is, but she's also in the Atlanta area. And so the message back to me was, if you want to know how to make bread, visit Breadbecker's website. I'm like, what is a Breadbecker? I know bread bakers, but I've never Breadbecker.
We'll just clear that up right now. It's kind of funny. We didn't know it when we named our company that. Our last name is Becker, but it's German, and it does mean the baker. It actually means the apprentice baker, and even more specifically, the man that keeps the communal bread oven clean and hot. So
oh, wow.
That's what a Breadbecker is. But anyway, go ahead with your story. So you found our website.
So I just did a Google search for Breadbeckers, and your website came up, and so I got on there and started watching a lot of the videos, and I didn't know the videos was on YouTube at the time, but so I was watching what I could off your webpage and reading a lot of the testimonies on there. I thought, I've got to try this. So I drive over to, and this was probably in November of last year.
Yeah, or December. Was it mid-December, I think?
I don't remember.
Yeah. It hasn't been long. I mean, just a couple of months, really.
Yes. Yeah. So I drive over, and I'd watched one of your videos, and that you have a link for the handout sheets. I think it was the getting started. What you need, getting started.
Right.
Printed that out and went down the list, and I just brought that list over to your stores in Woodstock and just went shopping and come back home with everything I needed to make a lot of bread. So, but and again, my stomach, like I said, at that time for me to do a 2-hour trip in a vehicle, I had like starved myself a day or two ahead of time, and then and not eat nothing that morning, or I'm not going to make it 10 miles. That's how bad it was. So
wow, that's amazing.
But I made it over to your store. I got the grain mill, the bread machine, the mixer, and several buckets of grain and all the yeast and all that, and come home and made bread. And I literally lived off your bread for, 3, maybe 4 days. And during that time, my stomach it's just amazing how much it helped me. So.
Wow. So no more pain, and did it correct the gastrointestinal issues in just a matter of a few days?
I was over at your store when I think the last time I've been several times over there getting stuff, and I was talking to one of your very sweet sales associates, and we just had a short conversation, and I'm like, yeah, this is really helping me. She said, well, what's going on? So I tell her a quick synopsis of my story, and she's like, well, you got to let Sue know this, because her question was, is the bread helping?
Uh-huh.
I said, no. She said, really? I said, no, it's not helping. It fixed it. Helping insinuates that it's somewhat better.
Right.
And that's not the case, because, like I said, I lived off the bread for like 3 days. And then, in each day, my stomach was just feeling better and better and better.
Wow.
So, I consider myself back to normal. I could do, like yesterday, for example, I went over, left early in the morning. I spent all day running heavy equipment, and no issues all day long. Wow.
You have your life back.
I do. It was literally life-changing.
Yes. And you had no idea when you set out, you just wanted to make bread. You had no idea.
I just wanted to make some bread. I thought maybe bake 1 or 2 loaves of bread during the winter when it's wet and nasty outside, and that'd give me something to do, and bring back fond memories of my mother. But at the time I wanted to start making bread, I had no idea of the benefits. I didn't know any of that until I got on your webpage to learn how to make bread, and started reading a lot of the testimonies on there and watching them.
Right. Gave you some hope beyond just making bread, right?
Oh yeah, that's what got me off my butt and decided to come over and get the stuff I needed to make the bread.
Well, we are sure glad you made that journey, and I have a feeling you are pretty glad yourself, right?
I am, because, like I said, I've been to 2 GI specialists, a year apart, approximately a year apart, and everything they did, all the medications and everything that they did was it didn't right. fix it by any means.
Right.
They may have, maybe a day or so in between, it might ease it somewhat, but it wasn't a fix. It wasn't a cure.
Wow. So you've not had any stomach pain or issues and bowel issues and bathroom issues since you started doing the bread?
I have. Twice. I think it's twice I had issues. But the problem was, if I skipped eating the bread, then I had an issue.
I gotcha. Like if you eat out or something and get a hold of other bread, or just any food in general. It just, the bread helps so much.
Yeah, I don't eat out much at all.
Yeah.
It's very seldom, maybe once a month, if that.
Yeah.
But the problem was at home, when I would fix things to eat, or I would grab something out of the fridge and, just a very, very quick meal, and not even take the time to slice me off a slice of bread,
Yes.
I could tell a huge difference. So
Yeah. That's exciting. People often ask me, how much bread do I need to eat? And I'm like, every day, every way. Of course, I'm a believer and a Christian. And my answer is funny. I always say, Jesus compared himself to bread. How much Jesus do you need? Every day, every way, all the time. Don't miss a day without him, because then you'll have problems. So that's amazing.
If I miss a day, Miss Becker, I'm serious. If I miss a day, it don't go back to as bad as it was.
Right.
I felt a huge difference. So
Wow.
as long as I eat, usually I eat breakfast with a piece of, I toast a slice of the bread, and then I may sometimes, if I eat lunch, which is not very often, but if I do, I'll eat a sandwich made out of the bread, and then a meal that evening with another either piece of bread or toasted or whatever. But if I do that, I'm fine. I can go in wherever I want. So.
Oh, this is so good to hear. I mean, just that the bread has given your life back. That's so encouraging and so exciting. And I know it's going to encourage everyone that hears this. Now, I understand you told me you were kind of a do-it-yourself kind of person, and that making bread was kind of right up your alley. But the concept of milling your own flour was new, correct? Did you know there was kind of that option out there?
Yes, but I didn't know to what extent, because previous hobby, I dealt with grains and yeast and all. But that hobby, you didn't grind it; you just cracked it.
Right.
So I was familiar with that, but I didn't know about the little grain mills. And what I used to crack the grain, it would not grind it by any means.
Right. Wasn't there to make flour. Right.
Correct.
So some people feel very overwhelmed when we talk to them about buying a grain mill, milling your own flour, and making your own bread, going from buying store-bought bread to making your own. Was this overwhelming to you, or is there anything that helped you make the process of making your own bread easier for you?
The process of eating bread regularly like I am now, I never was a real big bread eater, mainly, I guess, because it didn't sit well with my...
Right. Yeah.
But this process is so easy. I mean, I got my daughter, my son-in-law, and two granddaughters eating the bread now. I actually bought them a grain mill and a bread machine.
Wow.
I also make bread for my sister and brother-in-law, and then a lifelong friend that I've had that's got a lot of health issues, so I make bread for them. But it's just so quick and easy. I mean, I think probably 5 minutes or less. I mean, if I have no ingredients laid out or anything, I can gather up the ingredients, grab the grain, grind it, and within 5 minutes, I can have it in the bread machine, and then you just walk away until it's done.
Right. That's what we try to encourage people. And I'm so glad you said that, because you're working still, you're busy, you're not just sitting at home doing nothing. So you have a busy life. And that's what we want people to understand. The mill is so fast. And if you need the bread machine, can just make it easy for you. 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Most everybody's got 5 minutes to put on some bread and to dedicate to something that's going to make them so much better. And give you more time for other things. You're no longer looking for a bathroom everywhere you stop, and you have your life back.
Yes.
So are you still having to take medication, or were you able to?
No, I take no medications. It's even, I think we touched on it briefly one day, that I'm off of, I was on 2 different types of cholesterol medicine, and I was on high blood pressure medicine. And since doing the bread and all, it's just gone away. I mean, I went to the doctor not long ago at all. And I've been on the bread for, I don't know, maybe a month. And I went to the doctor for just a yearly checkup, and he said, and this is just the other day. So he said, he did all his blood work and everything, and I'm like, "How's it looking?" He said, "Well, your blood pressure is great, and your cholesterol has dropped to practically nothing." He said, and I said, "Well, can I come off that medication?" He said, "No, not right now. I'd rather leave you on it just to make sure it doesn't go back up." I said, "Well, I've been off of it for a couple of weeks now."
Oh, that's funny.
He said, "Well, if you're doing this well and you're not taking medication, then yes, you have my blessing to stop taking it." So no, I'm not on any medication now.
Wow, this is so amazing, Mr. Bice. Just so amazing. What an exciting testimony. And we have so many testimonies of people's cholesterol dropping 85 to 100 points in just a month.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising to hear you say that. So, wow. So not only the bowel issues and the debilitating stomach pain, but your cholesterol is good. Your blood pressure is now good. Oh, this is exciting.
Yeah, I think I told you this the other day, but yeah, I've got one of the little blood pressure machines that talks to you.
Uh-huh.
Now when I take my blood pressure, it actually comes back. It's so low that the voice on the machine goes, "Your blood pressure is optimal." So a normal person with no high blood pressure, when they take their blood pressure, they will usually say that you're normal. Well, mine's better than that. Mine's optimal. So.
Oh, okay. I get it. Wow. Yes. Yeah, that is amazing. That is just so amazing. I'm just so glad that you've shared your story. You've gotten your family members on, or are they loving the bread as much as you do?
Absolutely. Especially my granddaughters. There's a pretty nice restaurant in our hometown that a lot of people go to and eat. And before, when we was going there, it's like we loved their breadsticks or little like French bread things.
Right.
And but we've been on the bread for a while now, and my daughter and granddaughters want to stop by that restaurant. My daughter told me, she said, we couldn't wait for them to bring them little things of bread out because we loved it. She said, but they brought it out after we've been eating this bread for a while. They brought that bread out. And my youngest granddaughter, which is 12 now, took a bite and laid it back down and told my daughter, she said, "Mama, I can't eat this. This is nothing like Papa's bread."
Oh, that is so, that's exciting. And that's what I was like, the only downside of making this bread, but it's not really a downside, is you won't like the nasty bread that you used to think was so delicious. So that.
I've purchased wheat bread, what they call wheat bread, in the stores before.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't like it. I'm like, I don't, when, someone go make a sandwich or something for me, what bread do you want? And I said, "Oh, the white. I can't eat that wheat. It's nasty."
Yeah.
This wheat bread is nothing. I mean, it don't even compare to the bread you buy in the store, whether it's wheat or not. It's just so flavorful and good. I mean, a friend of mine carried him a sandwich yesterday. I carried him a sandwich before when we meet at work that had mayonnaise on it. He said, "I can't eat mayonnaise." So yesterday I carried him a sandwich. It was either yesterday or the day before. I carried him a sandwich with no mayonnaise on it. I said, "Here, try that." And he just raved about that all day long. He said, "I can't believe how good that bread is."
That just blows people away. And unfortunately, the whole grain, whole wheat bread in the store, people think, "Oh, no, I don't like whole wheat bread," but they've never tasted anything like this. And I think that's one of the amazing parts about milling your own grain to make your own bread is it's not only full of nutrition, it's delicious. It's healthy food. You don't have to make yourself eat.
And when you do, like I said, I mean, it's helped in other ways too. I've never been a real big sugar, fanatic.
Right.
I'm not crazy about sweets, but I do eat some. I mean, every now and then I would eat a candy bar or some type of sweet pastry or something, but not very often. But I had other cravings. You'd be sitting around, kind of bored, like, I want something, but I don't know what it is.
Right.
And that's gone away since I started eating these breads. I don't, I don't have a craving that I don't know what the craving wants.
Right. That's one of the first things I noticed too, is my cravings were gone, especially in between meals. After I ate a meal, I was full, I was satisfied. And really sometimes I'd go, oh, I guess I better eat something. It's been 6 hours, or something before I'd get hungry again. And, particularly sweets. And I wasn't just like you. I didn't just sit around eating candy bars and soft drinks and things like that. But I noticed that when we started making our own bread from the freshly milled flour, that I just didn't crave sugary things at all and didn't crave snacking. And I think I've done a podcast on cravings and kind of what they indicate is your body needs something. It might be full, but it's missing nutrients, whereas the bread is so full of nutrients, just about everything we need for health and life. It's all there. And so it really diminishes those cravings. And that's hard for some people to understand, but I've heard it lots of times. So that's great to hear that you found the same thing.
Yes, I did. And and besides all the other the ways it's helped me is, way more energy.
Yes.
I guess you would some people call it having a case of brain fog.
Yeah.
That's gone. I mean, my mind seems a lot clearer, and my energy is way up compared to what it was. And like I said, the absolute main thing that did it was the bread.
Wow. Yeah. You've been so gracious to share your story and personal medical health issues and how the bread has helped that. And you've said you've gotten some of your family members making the bread, or at least eating what you make. Your excitement is spreading, and you can't help it when you feel better, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm stunned, amazed. I mean, you name it. I'm flabbergasted. I can't believe how much the bread has helped me in so many different ways.
Yeah, that's the way we were. I mean, I started making bread for people, taking bread to people, and the next thing I know, just like you, in a matter of a week or so, just from a loaf of bread or a dozen dinner rolls, they were calling me and going, "What's in this bread? I have more energy. I have this, or I don't have that anymore, and can you teach me how to make bread?" So that's how Breadbeckers started 30 years ago. So.
Well, if you have the grain mill and the bread machine, it's so simple. I mean, I can mix the ingredients and put it in the bread machine, turn it on and walk away quicker than you can. I don't care how close your store is, quicker than you can go to the store and buy a loaf of bread.
Exactly.
It doesn't take up your time. It's not something that I dread. I mean, my worry is when a loaf that I just made starts getting low, like, oh man, I got to hurry up and make another loaf of bread.
Yes.
You throw a batch in.
Yes.
I have used the mixer and make other things, rolling dough out and putting it in pans and or the French loaf things and all that. And that's a little more time consuming. But day to day living, making the bread to eat, daily is. It's just really, I can't explain how much more simpler it is than what I thought it would be. It's
and the return on your investment.
Absolutely.
Not just your money, but look at, okay, it is a monetary investment. I get that. But your stomach pain has resolved, fixed.
Yes.
Your bowel issue. Your cholesterol is great. Your blood pressure is great. Your cravings are gone. You have more energy. You think more clearly. My goodness, that's invaluable.
It is. So, why wasn't we doing this 50 years ago?
Well, that's a whole nother story.
Why are they not? I mean, I was thinking about this the other day, especially since my granddaughters like this bread so well. Why are they not serving this in school? Why are they not teaching them in school? Because we used to have health classes.
Yeah.
Well, an eon ago when I was young enough to be in school, they had little health classes and all. So why are they not teaching this in school and making a healthy diet for their lunchroom? They're giving our kids garbage at school.
And wondering why they have behavior issues and learning issues. Yeah.
and issues, the allergies, and
Yeah.
why are they not? I mean, they could make this bread at school so easy.
They could. And I've been invited a couple of times to help, but it's because the systems are so big in each state and county, they have to do everything countywide. But we're going to start just like you are, one family member at a time, getting your granddaughters loving the bread and making them see the change and just bringing it back home to the family, I think is the only way we're going to fix it is to bring it back to the family.
Yes. And my daughter, to solve the food problem issues at school, she makes my granddaughter's lunches for them to take, and now she's doing it with the bread. So, I know that helps. But I guess, to sum everything that we talked about up as far as me, as far as I go, is it's just way, way simpler than I ever imagined. It doesn't impact my day-to-day life as far as taking the time to make the bread. It's just so much simpler and easier and better than I ever imagined. So
that's amazing. Well, thank you again, Mr. Bice, for taking the time today, delaying your work schedule a little bit for us to share with our listeners. I know that they are going to be so encouraged by your story, and that's just worth sharing. Your testimony. Our testimonies are given to us to share and to encourage others. So thank you, Mr. Bice. Is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners today?
Yes, there's two reasons, and they're not reason one and reason two. They're both equally important to me. And one is the health benefits that I've gotten from eating this bread. It's real. It's not a gimmick. You see so many gimmicks on TV. If you got this problem, order this, whatever. This is not a gimmick. It's real. I've had tremendous benefits from eating this bread. So that's one reason. The other reason is you and your family. I've been to your store several times. Talked to your sales associates. Actually met one of your sons. I think his name was David over there.
Yes.
And your family is just so hardworking. And I know after talking with you and visiting your store, you're not in it for the fame and fortune. I mean, you're in it for the right reason, and it's to try to help people, try to teach them, and show them the benefits of this. And like I said, this is not a gimmick with you guys by any means. So if you think it's something, if you read some of this or watch some videos, whatever, think it's a fly-by-night scam or whatever, it's not. It's real. And your family is the hardest working people that you'll ever be around. And like I said, they're doing it for the right reason. So that is probably the main thing that I still promote. When I go out day to day, doing my job and talking with people, there's not a day goes by that the bread and the benefits from the bread and you and your company are doing. And I've already got several other people that's very interested in will be coming over picking up what they need to make bread.
Well, thank you so much. And, that's why I wanted you to share your story, because this is our heart for people to hear and be encouraged that there could be an answer, and the bread could be the answer for the health issues that they're facing. And so we want to share it, or at least one answer. So
yes.
Thank you again for sharing your story, and thank you for the encouragement you've given to me today. And we just pray a blessing over you.
Well, I'm very, very thankful for what you guys are doing. Like I said, you're doing it for the right reasons, and it's helped me tremendously. So I thank you, Miss Becker.
Well, you're a blessing. Continue to bless others. And that's, I came up with a little slogan a few years ago called Spread the Bread. And that's what I want people to do. As you see it change your life, like sharing the gospel, go out, share the bread with other people, because it could help them physically. In more ways than one. So thank you again. And you have a great day.
All right. You too, Miss Becker. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sue's Healthy Minutes podcast has been a presentation by the Bread Beckers Incorporated, located in Woodstock, Georgia. For more information, store hours, and learning opportunities, visit breadbeckers.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast and never miss an episode. Share this with 2 friends who would benefit from this information, and be sure to join us again next week for more of Sue's Healthy Minutes.